Hello there, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think, Be, Do Leadership with a bit of a gruff voice and not the best of health today, but I'm going to give it a go because I said I was going to do it. So here we are today with my slightly controversial and a bit rude, can't polish, I'm going to say a poop. You can't polish a poop. Do you remember that phrase? Probably slightly more rude. It actually comes from a book that Geoffrey Stokes in 1976, Star Making Machinery Inside the Business of Rock and Roll. He first said it. He said you can't polish a TURD. And you might be thinking, what is she talking about? Why is that relevant today? And that is exactly what I want to talk about today, because I think it is relevant. And I'm slightly out of breath from COVID. So why is that relevant? Well, look, as a leader, I was asked the other day, should I have some personal PR? Should I get some PR? And I said, what do you mean by PR? Because I don't do personal PR. I do helping people with showing up as a leader and the impact that they have, actual real, let's just say the reality, the authenticity of being a leader, helping people to actually show up in the way they want to show up, not just because they've had some PR and they look like they're good. I actually want you to be good. And you probably are good, but worrying about what people think and trying to change what people think is what I want to talk about today, because I don't agree with it. I don't agree that we should just try to make it look good and put ourselves out there as if we're amazing. That's a bit like being some kind of pop star or being on one of them programs where, everybody wants to look great, but there's no substance behind it. And so I don't agree with that. I don't think that we should try to create something that just looks good. I think that we should really look at as a leader is, what is my impact, and start to get conscious of that. And then we can do something about it. That then when we do something about how we show up and we understand it, then we are going to show up in a much better way. And I think one of the issues is that we think it's a really, a quick fix if we can just make ourselves look good. But actually, it's a harder, longer journey to actually do the right thing, be the right person, show up in the right way. And so I was a little bit triggered the other day by thinking about this personal PR thing, because I was like, what does that even mean? Why would we need that? If we're doing the right thing and we're showing up in the right way, then we shouldn't even need that, because it will be its own self-fulfilling PR, because we are the person that we need to be the leader that we need to be. And it struck me, I'm going to share my screen actually. Do you remember the good old Johari window? Let's see if this is going to work actually. Hold on. Share screen. Gosh, now we've got to find it. The good old Johari window. There, hopefully I have done that. The blank at the minute, don't worry. Here we go, the good old Johari window. Let's bring it all up. Do you remember this? Okay, areas that are known to ourselves. Let me just check it's actually, it is actually sharing. Am I sharing? Oh, hang on. Are we sharing? I can't check. Hang on. So, there we are now, I think. Yeah. Okay. So everybody, sorry about that. I say it's because I'm not well and I've got a temperature. So in the Johari window, what they were saying was there's stuff that we know about ourselves and there's stuff that we don't know about ourselves. So there's stuff that we know and that we're happy to share, stuff like, I don't know, that you like chocolate or whatever it might be, stuff that you're not bothered. That's our open area where people know about you and you know about yourself. Okay. But then there's other areas here we've got where we know about it, but we don't want anybody else to know about it. And that's our hidden area. But what we really want to look at as well is this blind spot of where it's not known to us, but it's known to other people. People see straight through the fact that we about ourselves. They see us. Yeah. So these two areas, this hidden area, which I don't like, because if you're hiding it, why are you hiding it? And this blind spot are areas that we need to work on, because if we want to have the impact that we want, we need to know, one, what our blind spots are, because that's what everybody else is seeing of us. And two, if we're hiding stuff, is it as hidden as we thought? Is it actually not impacting our influence and how we show up more than we think? And so we need to be much more mindful of these areas and look for these areas rather than just thinking about what I'm showing in this open area and then polishing it and making it look nice. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that screen for a second. But I wanted to put that up there because I think what some people think is that they don't have to do that they don't have to dig in and find out the areas where they're not that comfortable at themselves, or they don't like that, or they don't want to know the stuff they don't know, because that would mean they've got to do some work, or they've got to face up to the fact that some of that stuff's not that great. It might be that you can be a bit of a mood hoover, or you can be a bit of a grump, and it might be that you're actually a little bit terrifying, and you don't want to know about that, because that means you have to change your behavior. And so if you really want to be a really good leader where you inspire people want to come with you, they are enabled, and they are happy, and they are inspired to work with you and for you and in your team, then you've got to look at these areas that are really quite tricky to look at, because if you don't, then you're fooling yourself, really. You're fooling yourself in that you think that you're doing okay, when maybe you are, but maybe you're not. Maybe there are things that you could easily change, and you could make better, that will mean that you are having a better influence on people. Yeah. And we need to look at that in terms of three things. We need to look at in terms of the connection that you have with people, how you engage with people, how you build relationships. You need to look at the impact that you're having, the behaviors that you're displaying. And also, if you want to inspire people, then you need to look at how you're showing up in terms of what you're saying and the way in which you actually say it, rather than just your behaviors. And so those three things, we need to look at that Johari window, and we need to say, right, okay, well, how good am I actually at this? What is the impact to me? How well do I make those connections? And you need the feedback from people. You need to ask, and you need to look, and you need to make sure that you are taking that on board. And that leads me to the next thing. Hang on. Excuse me. That leads me to the next thing, which is quite a lot of people, they ask for feedback, but they don't do anything about it, because they don't really want the feedback, and they probably just, they have to do it because they have to do it. And if that's you, then I get it. It's really hard, because sometimes it hurts. But the more we can take on feedback, the more that makes this a norm, then the better we are going to be, because we get used to that and we are able to do something about it. And then our impact is much better. So if you're thinking about, how do I make connection? How do I work with people? This week, I've had some very interesting conversations, very short conversations with some people. For example, asking for an appointment. It's like, here's my link. Hello, I'd love a little bit more information there. Like, hello, Julie, how are you? Or, and that's just me. But if I was going to give that person feedback, I'd be like, well, where's the relationship building here? Where's the bit that pulls out connection? Doesn't. And so we've got to look at the way in which we speak, the way in which we are coming across. How are we building connection? And are we building connection, or are we actually putting barriers in place? Secondly, the impact that we have, the behaviors that we display. So, we need to look at that and say, okay, when I'm showing up, am I behaving in a way that suits me and makes me comfortable, but making other people uncomfortable? Am I having an impact that is helping other people to perform, or do I need to listen to those people and hear that actually I'm putting them off, I'm stopping them, I'm holding them back because I'm making them nervous, I don't want they fear for what they're going to say or they need to do. What is that? And if we can be big enough and put our big girl and boy pants on enough to say, I'm going to hear what they say, then we're only going to get better. And the only way we're going to get better is to hear what they say. So the next one is how we say things, the way in which we are influential. And we work on this in our Leaders Launchpad and our communication program. And so if you want to work on this, then do give me a shout, because this is massively important for you and your impact as a leader. And so influence, as in, can I speak up for the word in the way I need to, so that people are actually listening to me? Do I end up finding myself totally getting into a tiz and in the weeds and trying to give too much detail? Am I not getting my point across properly, so that people aren't listening to me, or they're not inspired, or they're feeling like, God, she's really boring, what's she doing? Maybe that's me today because I'm not feeling very well. But But what I'm saying is we need to find a way that we actually can influence people through our words and our actions, but particularly through our words, in the way in which we're putting ourselves across, so that they want to listen to what we have to say. And sometimes it's really hard for people to accept what we have to say unless we're really, really careful about how we say it. So the three things: the connection, impact, and influence. We need to get conscious of it. We need to understand what our levels of effectiveness are at that, and we need to get realistic, actually, that we need to do something about it. And we have our fire mnemonic, which is feedback, of course, interpretation. What does it mean? So we don't just go and get feedback and ignore it. We look at, what does that actually mean? What are they trying to tell me? Then we need to respond, but we also need to execute. We need to change things. And so we go around in that circle, because it's no good just getting the feedback and ignoring. It's no good just getting the feedback and poo-pooing it. It's quite good for the name of this, isn't it? But you have to actually do something about it, and you have to listen to what's people being said. So if you want to increase your impact and influence, and you want to increase the way people see you as a leader, then don't just polish what you've got, this little thing. Put your big girl boy pants on, like we all have to do, and look at, what do I actually need to authentically change, or what do I actually need to stop, start, or continue to do because that bit's good? What do I need to do to actually create a diamond rather than just trying to polish something else? And that's all I've got to say now today. It's a bit of a week of it because I've been poorly. I think I'm on a bit of a roll. So apologies if I offend anybody with that word, but I think it's super, super important that we polish the diamond. We don't want to polish that poop. Okay, take care, everyone. See you soon.